Now we're here. All right. Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome to Healthy for the Holidays. We are on week 3, day 11. If you are on the Facebook group, welcome. If you're watching this on Mighty Network or on YouTube, you'll see this after the fact. So week 3, we're going to talk all about habits. This is one of my favorite topics because it's very, very, very underestimated when people are looking to make changes in their lives. They focus more on the process, on the diet, on the program, and not enough on habits. So before I get going, I want to remind you a couple things. Number one, next Tuesday is my webinar on how to talk to your kids about food, body, and weight in a way that does not cause harm. There's a lot of misinformation out there, as there always is, on the intrawebs, talking about food and weight with your kids causes eating disorders. I am going to dismantle all of those myths for you and also give you practical, tactical ways of talking to your kids about food, body, weight, things like that, that will be helpful and not lead to harm. That happens next Tuesday, December 13th. There is a small charge for that. It's a couple-hour meeting, and I will send around a replay, so it's about $19 to join that masterclass, but you can keep it and rewatch it, and there will be a lot of good information in there for you. So make sure you sign up for that. I'll put the links everywhere that you need it. Also, we start the shift in January. So if you're not already on the shift wait list, I highly suggest getting on that. There are hundreds of people on the wait list right now, and I only take 30 to 40 people every time. So if you're not on the wait list, I highly suggest getting on it. I do open the wait list first before I open it up to the general public. If there's any spots left, then the general public can jump in, but the wait list gets that spot first. So make sure you hop on the wait list. You can hop to my website, elizakingsford.com, and the waitlist is right there. You can't miss it. And the last thing I wanted to say is that so many of you are sharing these. Please, 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 if you think anybody would benefit from watching these Healthy for the Holidays videos, please feel free to share them. If you're watching on YouTube or Mighty Network, you can invite them that way. If you're on the Facebook group, please invite your friends. Next week, I think it is, I will be doing some challenges, giveaways, I guess is a better way to say, of some of my books and the Jumpstart program and things like that, for inviting friends and family to come watch these videos. So stay tuned for that. Okay, let's talk about habits today. So here's the big takeaway that I want you to get from this week as we start talking about habits. All of us, with no exceptions, we are just a culmination of our habits that we do or don't do. Everything that we are is a culmination of habits. It's just, we are habitual people. So what I mean is, if you are struggling with your weight and, struggling to appreciate your body, habits that you either do or don't do. If you're struggling to lose weight, habits that you do or don't do. If you're struggling in your marriage, habits that you do or don't do, maybe around communication. If you're struggling with your kids, habits that you do or don't do. If you're struggling with your work, habits that you do or don't do. If you're struggling with your money, habits that you do or don't do. Everything that we are is the culmination of our habits. So when we're looking to change, most of us make the mistake of focusing too much on, so for instance, in the realm of sort of diet and food and body, we focus too much on the program, we focus too much on the diet and not enough on our habits. This is one of the main reasons why yo-yo dieting happens, because what happens is people get to a pain point where things feel really uncomfortable in their lives. And when that pain point gets really big, they say, okay, I'm going to do something about this. And they go out and they find a program, right? And they say, okay, I'm going to try Whole30, or I'm going to do the keto diet, or, I'm going to restrict my calories to 1,200 calories, right? They focus on the program. They focus on the pathway to getting to where they want to go. But the problem is, because we are creatures of habit, all of us are, our bodies and brains, our physiology, our emotions, our subconscious self, which comprises 95% of who we are, is habitual. right? So the 95% of who we are goes back to habits first all the time. So you can decide to go on the Whole30 or something like that in order to lose weight. But if you don't address who you are in your habits, you might be able to muscle your way through something, relying on motivation for a week, 2 weeks, maybe even a month or something like that. But your habits, the habitual part of who you are, will come back really strong when what's called life starts lifing, right? So one, late night at the office, a fight with your spouse, a busy week with your kids, anything that pulls you from that deep focus of motivation, anything about life, anything big or small or anything in between, will pull you into a habitual response. Why does it do this? Because your brain takes a lot of energy to function every day. And one of the ways that it is really efficient is by relying on homeostasis, is by relying on automaticity and habituation in order to make decisions so that it doesn't have to pull up and use the energy to make decisions every day. Let me pull this into a really practical example. Any of you ever started a program and you wake up in the morning and you say, today is going to be a great day and I'm going to do it and I'm going to do it perfectly today. I'm going to do it exactly as I'm supposed to. Breakfast is good. Morning snack is good. Lunch is pretty good. Snack starts to waver. And by dinner time, you are back into old patterns of behavior. Why? Because your brain has been using energy all day to make decisions. And it quite literally energy, calories, burning energy, making decisions all day long. Your brain actually is the largest organ, the largest burner of calories in your body. So it's making decisions all day long. And by the time you get to the evening, it has what I've called decision fatigue, right? And so you end up habitually going back to what it knows because it no longer has the energy to think about making decisions in line with what you said you wanted to do that morning. I can't tell you how many of my clients will tell me I did great up until nighttime. And then at the end of the day, I'm eating whatever is there. It's because that is a habit and your brain will take you back to what it knows. It's habitual response to how do I make decisions around food? So it doesn't care that you're on keto. It doesn't care that you're doing the Whole30. What it knows is when I'm tired and I'm out of decisions, I reach for the, whatever, fill in the blank. Okay. And then you wake up the next morning feeling like a failure and you start all over again. If we are not paying attention to who you are habitually, your brain will continue to spiral in a habitual process without your conscious awareness. So we need to start paying attention less to what your goals are, what your program is, what you've committed to. And first, we need to start looking at who you are habitually. What are your habits? For instance, one of my clients wrote in our group this morning that she has a habit of skipping breakfast. Okay, that in and of itself is neither here nor there, but that habit of skipping breakfast ends up leading her to a cascade of decisions where at lunch she's famished. And when you're famished, your executive functioning part of your brain that says, oh, I think this, high protein, satiating, high fiber meal will sound good for me. And when you're famished, the brain says, nope, give me all the salt, sugar, fat. I want quick burning energy. I want it now because the brain is thinking, I don't have enough energy to get throughout the day. So it's cueing you to eat usually ultra processed foods, things that are quick burning energy, which is a lot of, usually carbohydrates and sugar, et cetera, right? So when you're famished, the brain is pointing you in the direction of decisions that you may not normally intend to eat. Ever go to the supermarket hungry? That's what's happening, right? It's cueing you to get fast acting energy. So her habit is I skip breakfast. And then by lunchtime, I'm famished and I end up picking things that do not serve me. And I don't want to do this anymore. And a previous version of herself would say, I'm supposed to eat, this type of food or this many calories, or I'm on this plan or whatever. ignoring the habit that she's in the habit of skipping breakfast, right? And so right now we're working through addressing the habit of skipping breakfast in a way that aligns with her day so that she ends up not overeating or eating things she doesn't want to at lunch. This same thing happens for people oftentimes in the afternoon or evening or after dinner, right? They'll say, well, I'm on Whole30 and I'm only having this many calories a day, but they're in the habit of having something sweet after dinner. And they're in the habit of snacking too much before dinner time, that time in between lunch and dinner. So it doesn't matter what plan you're on or what program you're on, your habits are going to drive you to do the same thing. It doesn't care about your plan. So I'll have people who say, well, I'm on Whole30, but they'll get in the habit of overeating Whole30 things after dinner because their habit is having something sweet. Or they'll get in the habit of snacking too much between dinner and lunch because that's what they're in the habit of doing. Make sense? So without beating this dead horse, what I want you to start to do and what I'd like you to try today is to go through and look at what are you in the habit of doing that does not support where you want to go with food and body. Not what am I eating or how many calories does it have or how many macronutrients, none of that stuff. What is your habit? Are you in the habit of having something sweet after lunch? Are you in the habit of having something sweet after dinner? Are you in the habit of, this is what I hear all the time, doing great all week and then overeating on the weekends? That is a habit. And instead of putting restrictions on your program, we need to start looking at your habits and working with habits. I'm going to teach you a formula for working with habits this week, but I first want you to start to understand that all of us are a culmination of habits that we do or don't do. As in regards to food and body, I would like you to write down what your habits are. Are you in the habit of skipping the gym? Are you in the habit of sitting too often and not moving? Are you in the habit of overeating? Are you in the habit of emotional eating? Are you in the habit of binge eating? I want you to start looking at your habits and start writing them down for us to address this week. All right, let me know what questions you have and what is coming up for you around this topic of habits, and we will tackle habit change and some different formulas for looking at habits the rest of this week. All right, everybody, see you tomorrow.